Hello, everyone, and welcome to ROKStudios. I'm Lucy Caton, the brand lead for Europe, Middle East, and Africa at Rockwell Automation. And I'm joined today by Meghna Subramani, EMEA Commercial Product Manager at Rockwell Automation. Meghna, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
And Ian Murgatroyd. Ian is responsible for as the EMEA Product Manager for Safety Components at Rockwell Automation.
Hi,
Ian,
Lucy.
welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
So, today we're going to be talking about safety and security. This is obviously a really important topic, so let's get right into the questions. So, my first question to you, Ian: how are new EU regulations linking safety and security measures?
Okay, well, in terms of machinery safety, from the aspects I'm looking at, there is a new regulation. So, some key dates, if you like. The new machinery regulation entered into force in July of last year. But we're now in a 42-month transition period, and the full application date is 20th of January 2027, which seems like a long time away. Now, the regulation itself now ties together safety and security. Now, there are essential health and safety requirements in the legislation, and there is a section now for protection against corruption, which is just another way of talking about cybersecurity. But it looks at the need for adequate protection for legitimate and illegitimate intervention, and that those also need to be logged. So that's really where the tie-in now comes between safety and security.
So, these dates that are upcoming, that I think they're driving this surge really for these regulations. So, Meghna, if I could then ask you, there seems to be this surge in the number of regulations that manufacturers need to be aware of. What's driving this increase?
I think, Lucy, that most organizations as well as government entities realize that a lot of assets are connected today, and there's going to be an increased amount of connectivity even in the future with new technologies that are arising as well as new trends in manufacturing. And the intent is not to shy away from these trends and maybe not adopt these new technologies, but rather think about how you can manage risk while also making the most of these new technologies. And that's really the key here. And I think that's the intention with the surge of regulations to ensure that organizations are considering security as well as considering security together with safety while adopting these new technologies.
Thank you, Meghna. That's a great additional context there. And Ian, if I could defer to you.
Mm.
So, considering the goal for most manufacturers is to embrace the connected enterprise, how do you see this affecting safety and security?
I think it's a good question. I mean, if you look at the connected enterprises, that drive for real-time data to make real-time production changes to be more efficient. What that's seen over the last 5 or 6 years is more connectivity, so more networks, not just from the controller to drives and motion, but also from the input devices, so switches, light curtains, and the like, which introduces more vulnerability. The challenge that our customers will have with the new machinery regulation is that presumption of conformity is still based around using European standards because that's the best documentation available. But many of those need to be rewritten at the moment, or new ones need to be written to look at these security aspects. There is a new B standard being written for protection against corruption. Clearly that's in the planning stage, but really for customers, OEMs that are looking at the machinery regulations and compliance, it's really a matter of them keeping their eye on what's changing so that the best documentation is available to them. So that's really the way forward for our customers.
Absolutely. And you touched a little bit on data there. So, Meghna, I'd like to just defer to you for my final question. It seems there are a lot of things that manufacturers really need to consider. How can they simplify their journey to compliance?
I think some of the key aspects in simplification are considering what your current strategy is in terms of safety and security, and what governance do you have in place in your organization for both, and then thinking about how you can really holistically bring them together, so that when your security team is thinking about security, they're also considering safety and vice versa. And I think the other thing to also consider is that, we don't want to shy away from digitalization, and we want to manage that risk while also evolving. But the key thing is also collaboration, because you need to collaborate across your supply chains. That means that OEMs need to collaborate with Rockwell, end users need to collaborate with Rockwell, but they also need to collaborate with each other. And there has to be a communication channel that's opened up to have these discussions, be transparent, share what's going on in the community, and really build the resilience together.
Meghna, that's a great insight, and I think just goes and speaks to the point of the criticality for safety and security, and how that is how that can be simplified. So,
Yeah.
Meghna, Ian, it's been great to have you in the studio today. Thank you very much for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Lucy.
And thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more about safety and security solutions, visit rockwellautomation.com.